Trying to find the blur that you just did. Choose video, choose virtual background. No.
Hey, I'm there too, Robert. We can meet. Just imagine I walk by now.
That would be funny. That would be funny. Yeah, I guess I'll leave it. I can't figure it out. All right. So we're all here. Robert, Dion, Volker, and Marcel doing a Build 8 review. And
hey, everyone.
Are we sharing screens? Wait a minute. What are we doing here? I'm
not sharing.
I'm not sharing this. Okay, so wait. If I share a screen, okay, hold on. I'm going to share my screen. So I share. Okay.
How can you see your computer on the beach like that? Isn't the sun drowning it out?
Yeah, I've got what do you call it? An umbrella. So.
What a lie.
Parasol. Yeah. Yeah, I wake up on the beach in the morning and.
Well, speaking of that, we should maybe let's each quickly describe where we are. I'm in Sarasota, Florida.
I'm in Las Palmas de Gran Canaria, Spain.
So now you make us look like fools since we are in Germany. Well, the weather is, as always, rainy, cold, windy.
You're still in Limburg?
Yeah, I'm in the mill, and so yeah.
And
so
Marcel?
I feel
also still back in Germany after my trip from Dubai. Sadly, I'm back in cold Germany.
Okay, so what do we have here, Robert?
Okay, we're going to go through the Build 8 changes. Most of them were bug fixes, and I got a few extra features. The first one here is this linear log option. I got a script that hopefully is going to demonstrate this really quickly. So if you're not already familiar with it, we've got a trendline break condition that you can buy or sell on. And I've got this one set up to draw trend lines on 2 points, reversal percent for the zigzag at 15%. So what it's going to do is going to sell a position that's bought on this moving average crossover. It's going to sell it on a break of a rising trend line. And the extension is a linear extension of the trend line. So let's go ahead and run the strategy. I think I've got it set up for a particular symbol that we can see this on.
Bank of America.
And Bank of America. Okay, let's pull back here a little bit. Oh, you know what? I'm unfortunately running Build 9. That's okay, but Build 8 is going to show these extensions a little bit longer to infinity. So Build 9, we've got this corrected. So yeah, you're seeing Build 9 here, but it's just pre-Build 9, and we're really running Build 8. I meant to change that before we started, but I forgot. So anyway, the chart is set up on, let's get rid of some of these things, it's set up to show linear. Let's pull this over here so we can see it a little better. And we bought a position on this crossover, and let's get this make this a little bit bigger. Well,
so let's show the rule. Let's show the rules again really quick.
Okay, go back to the design surface.
So the buy signal is SMA 50 crossing over SMA 100, and the sell signal is a trend line break. So the close is breaking below the rising trend line.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay. And so it finds this trend line here. These happen to be the 15% troughs right here. So you can, and then it extends the trend line in a linear chart. And for this linear chart, the trend line is broken actually on this bar here. This is it's the close. It's always looking for the close. So the close is here. It's above the trend line. This close is actually above the trend line. It's hard to see, but this close is below the trend line, and we sell. Okay.
Yep.
Now the changes, what we added was to extend the trend line on the log scale. So if we switch the chart to the log scale, you can see, and we run, let's go back, hold on. Yeah. I'm not seeing what I wanted to see, but let's, sorry, sign surface, let's switch this to log and run the back test. Okay. Yeah, that's strange. I wasn't really seeing this before, but I expected this to stay on this point, but it's not. Okay, we had to run the strategy. So, but it's doing it the right way. So you can see this extension, even though the trend line is built on these troughs still, it's getting crossed here, whereas previously it crossed here. So we're on the log scale, as you can see. And so you can see how it changes the strategy. And for short-term strategies, I don't expect it to have much of an effect because the log and linear don't really change too much, but it's going to have an effect on longer term.
And this was, what was the incentive behind this change? Did somebody request this on our forum?
No, I think I probably requested it.
Yeah, I think you were the incentive for this one.
I was the incentive, and so I put that in.
Good. Okay, cool.
Okay, the next change.
Yeah, it looks. You know what I like about it is actually that it is done by drag and drop, and that makes the trend lines objective, and not like a lot of people do. They draw a trend line, and then 2 weeks later, we make this the new low or the new high. And this one is just fair and square. It cannot be changed afterwards. So that's what I like. And it's drag and drop means, I don't need to code it. So loving it.
Yeah, it's pretty convenient. Okay, let's go back to the homepage. Whoops, missed it. Exit signals from the NSF positions are now flagged. Okay, so I have a quick demo here for that, just to show you what those look like. And we just created a video on NSF positions, so we'll link to that in the below here.
And just to,
make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe.
And just to make sure, what is NSF?
NSF are non-sufficient funds. Okay,
yeah.
So
you don't have enough money. That's what it means.
Okay, so for example, this is a really simple strategy to test this. Basically, it's just going to buy the same stock. It goes back a few bars and buys the same stock many times. But since we have 33%, I guess we can't. Okay, good. I can move this. So you can see we just went back a few bars. We started buying it here, and we got to here. These last 4 bars, we couldn't buy positions because we were using 33. Pardon me?
I can't see the screen because the image, like our own pictures, are overlapping the chart. Yeah.
Let me pull this over here like this then. Okay. So we started buying a position on every bar, starting with this bar, but since we were using 33% of equity sizing, we could only buy 3 positions. And so on the last 4 bars here, we couldn't buy the positions, but in those trades, those transactions became NSF positions. And so on the last bar, what the strategy does is tries to sell everything that it bought before. And so we actually got 7 alerts, 3 for the positions that we bought, that the back test actually bought, and also 4 for the positions, the NSF positions that were thrown out by the back test.
And this was the result of a feature request on our forum.
Right. So you can see it's, once again, if you were actually trading the strategy, this is just a simple example, but if you were actually trading the strategy, you would be getting alerts to buy on every one of these bars. If your real account actually had the money to buy, you may have actually bought positions on those bars. And so since the strategy is telling you, oh, that's a little debug that this has. Since the strategy is actually telling you to buy on those bars, it tells when it goes to sell all the positions, it tells you to sell the positions that you may have actually bought. And that's the purpose.
Yeah, just to give a more more realistic or another example, in world signals or any trader that follows that system, he might have gotten an opening price or a price that is actually good enough to get another open position. And
right.
if you, but the data that you use might say, it never touched that price. But then it did touch that price in reality. It is just the data provider didn't get it, or there's a lot of things that can happen. So you might have, instead of 3 positions, you might have 4 positions, but then you never get a sell signal because Neuro-Lab or any other software might think you don't have that position. Here at Neuro-Lab, we consider that and say, hey, if you want to make sure that you get all your signals, you have to use that NSF, enable it. Is that right? Retain it, right?
Right. Actually, that's a good point. Okay, so the way that the NSF position, this is actually the default method for Neuro-Lab, is to retain the positions. If you don't want to retain the positions, then you wouldn't get those signals. So
yeah, but plus you have a great video explaining how the results can change, and sometimes drastically change if you either retain the positions or do not retain the positions. So I really suggest A, you subscribe, and B, watch the video, because it's another really good example how Neuro-Lab is really trying to take care of the things that might happen and can happen.
Let's move on to, where's my window, the home page. What's the next thing? Okay, the dividends weren't properly back adjusted for splits. Yeah, what I would do is if you use wealth data, okay, first of all, the data provider is always shown at the bottom of the chart here, the one that's actually feeding the chart. I happen to have Yahoo Finance here, so let me switch that around really quickly. Go to our historical providers and let's put wealth data on top. And get rid of that. Let's pull up Sherwin-Williams because this had a recent 3-to-1 split right here. And so anybody that uses wealth data, you should check your chart, check Sherwin-Williams and make sure that the dividend, the previous dividend shows 55 cents. If it doesn't, you should go back to your data manager, historical providers, right click on wealth data and delete the local files. Or can we do that with only the event providers or no?
Not yet, but we're planning on adding that.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, really we just need to delete the wealth data dividends that were previously stored. Okay, so we had a little mistake there.
So I only have to do it now because we had this error, but in future I usually do not have to do anything. It is just because we had this little error there. That's why you have to do it. Okay.
That's right. Okay. Let's go back to, I lost my. Okay, so the next one is to deleted strategies will now be put in the recycle bin, and you can trust us, they'll go to the recycle bin. Okay, next one. Dion, I think are we going to do a preview of Neuro-Lab now, or are we going to put that in another?
Sure, we can do a short preview of the Neuro-Lab, the neural network extension that I've been working on. So I guess I'll need to share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yep, yes it is.
Okay, so Neuro-Lab is a new extension we're working on. It'll let you create and train neural networks based on indicator inputs that you drag and drop into this area here. So it starts out with this untitled blank neural network. So the idea is you can go to your indicators, pick, any indicators you want, drag them in. You can even do things like, we have indicators for virtually anything. So we have something called symbol data that'll let you bring in data from an external symbol, such as an index or whatever, like VIX. So you could use that as one of your inputs.
Can you do that? Can we do that? I'd like to see that.
So I just drag that in. I think we need to configure it. So first of all, let me load some data for testing up here. We're going to load some test data. I think I have something with a couple of symbols here. So I loaded some symbols. You could see it went through and updated all of these values, the minimum, maximum, mean, and standard deviation. So here we can configure each one of these. So we can select which symbol. Maybe we want to test this on QQQ as an example. It'll automatically update. So you have your inputs selected here. Over here, you have one or more hidden layers with the activation function. So we support these different activation functions. So the hidden layer kind of takes the inputs and figures out different weight values of how the inputs relate to the output. So the output here is rate of change, 5 bars shifted back 5. That means it's looking at the future rate of change, so the future percentage gain or loss. This could also be changed into any indicator by dragging and dropping the indicator on top of this. So let's increase the neurons here, give it a little bit more to work with. Once you have this set up, you can then go to train and start the training process. So let me prune these graphs to get rid of the steep decline up here. So you can see little by little, it's slowly getting better as it's training on the in-sample data range, which is defined here. I selected 2010 to 2015. So I'll stop it now, which will then go into a finalization as it's figuring out the final values. So now the training is done. You could resume the training, but I'll just go to the evaluate so we can run the evaluation. So it's taking the indicator that it created based off of the training, and it created an indicator based off of this neural net, basically. So this these 3 columns represent the in-sample data. This represents the out-of-sample. So when the neural net indicator is a low value here, you could see that the average output, which is rate of change after 5 bars, so basically percentage gain after 5 days. When the indicator is low, we have these negative values, but when the indicator is high, we have these positive values. I mean, in this distribution, how it goes from low to high is actually, I mean, that's a pretty good result from this network. I mean, I would say, especially in the out-of-sample, you would expect to see this in the in-sample, but seeing this in the out-of-sample is pretty good. So I think I'll actually save this one. So let me save this as, what should we call this one? I'll call it QQQ because we're using QQQ external data on that. So there's a little bug here. This is still under development. It cleared the evaluation. So let me see if I can open it again.
Yeah, that was a pretty good result. The in sample and out of sample actually looked almost identical with the results.
Yeah, I'm going to train it again
Why?
because I wasn't able to see it on the chart because looks like it didn't save the training data. So that's something I look at. So like I said, this is still under development. So there's still a number of kinks, that we're working out of it. We'll just let this train for a little while. I forgot how many epochs I let it train on before, but I'll just stop it now. Okay, slightly different results. So we're not getting as good results as we did last time, but we're still seeing like negative results when this indicator is low, and then when it goes above a certain threshold, then we're seeing positive results. So it's still not bad. But I don't think we'll be able to see it on a chart. But let's try. Okay, yeah, we can. So here's like a chart. You could type in any symbol here in this tab, and you get the neural net indicator displayed on the chart. So when the indicator is going high, that's a good entry point, and when it's going low, that's a good exit point. That's basically how this Neuro-Lab is designed. So then your end result here in your indicators is this. Let me collapse this guy here. So here we have a Neuro-Lab node in your indicators, and you have this new indicator here, NNP. So you could use this just like any other indicator in a building block strategy. You select which neural net you trained, you click OK, and then you get it displayed on the chart or in your building block strategy, however you want to use it, just like any other indicator. You could even use it in a rotation model as the weight indicator. So that's Neuro-Lab really quick, still under development, but coming along pretty well.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Looking pretty good. Excellent.
Well, I think that's a
Good.
wrap, guys. Is there anything else you want to add, Volker?
Nope. Looks very good. A lot of nice, interesting new things. So yeah, like it a lot.
All right, thanks everyone.
Okay, guys.
Bye.
Bye,
Thanks.
guys.
Bye.